Hello dollies, Maria Doll here, and I'm so excited to offer you the ultimate feature-length how to make a cloth doll, complete from start to fabulous finish. Ta-da! You will be making her, hello, in your own amazing unique style. And all that you need to do is download this pattern from Maria's Doll School for the humble price of a coffee for £3 with details of that at mariasdollschool.co.uk. And then you can see that that's the pattern for your doll, and that's the really simple pattern for the dress. And enjoy the tutorial. And if you need any help or support, just message in the comments below and I will respond. And if you are a visual learner like myself and you want a full picture step-by-step instruction, you can download the full Make a Doll book. But if you just need a pattern and a dress and you want to go, then just download and let's get started. Okay. Hello dollies, and I'm so excited. Oh gosh, I hope this isn't upside down. I think it is. Anyway, I'm so excited to bring you my all-in-one, super easy to make cloth doll pattern. And step one is to buy your pattern online for super cheaps and then cut it out. So you have the body pattern, it's all in one, and you've got your easy bias dress pattern. That is step one. See you in the next step. Step two, dollies, go into your fabric stash cupboard and get some fabric. It can be an old pillowcase, it can be an upcycled bit of duvet cover. This is just calico, and put your dolly over the top and see if your pattern fits. Now, as you can see here, the pattern doesn't fit, but don't worry dollies, because as they used to do in the olden days, they would stitch one bit of fabric to another, and your dolly's just going to have a seam somewhere along her body, but we'll just do it on the back of her body. So you can always upcycle and reuse fabric. That's the name of the game. Don't be buying any extra fabric. We want to use up all the fabric in the cupboard. So here I've actually found one piece that's long enough. So the other bit I'm going to stitch two pieces together, and then I'm going to iron it, and then we're going to draw around her. That's going to be step three. Look dollies, this is what I was talking about. So this bit of fabric's long enough for the doll, but this one wasn't, so I've stitched two pieces together, and make sure that you stitch them along the grain line, the long bit. And then, as I said I would, iron them. So you just iron the sides down, and then this bit here can be the back of the head of the doll. You see? And then you're never even going to know that those two bits were stitched, because the hair's going to cover them. So then you've saved on fabric, and that's going to be the front. However, did you know that there's a very old antique type of teddy bear? I forget the name of them now, but in order to save fabric and money at the time, the company that made them stitched two pieces of fur together to make the head of the bear as a end off cut-offs, and those bears that were made with the two bits stitched together are now the most valuable, because they're so rare. So you never know dollies, you never know, your half head stitched dolly one day will be really, really famous. What do you think about that? Humph. Hello dollies, now it's the really fun part. We are going to draw around your fabric. So you will need, and I'll link to this magic pen, because I'm getting techie with it and I'm learning how to link things. And then here is our line, but that's the wrong side, so that when you stitch, if you are joining your fabric, you're going to get the nice neat line on the right side. And just for fun here, I've decided to put the line across the neck. So so you can decide that. And all we are going to do is draw around you, Dolly. Now, be careful if she starts to giggle, because she finds this a bit ticklish sometimes, don't you? And you will see that. That's called a grain line. And the grain line is supposed to go down the grain of the fabric. And actually, as you can see here, I have not followed the grain line, which is just as well I noticed. So the length, can you see there that my grain line, the long bit of thread, is there? So the way I'd originally done is actually off centre there. So for fabric to be as strong as it can be, you need to follow the grain line. Good job, I noticed that, see? I'm learning as I teach. So let's just retrace. All of these steps are very good because you learn as you go. Learn as you go. Draw around. Now these magic pens have different levels of grace. Sometimes they fade really quickly and sometimes they stay there all day. So it just depends how it's feeling. I think it's got to do with how much moisture's in the fabric. Okay, nearly there, Dolly Lolly. Of course, she wants you to know that she doesn't want much extra fat around her in this case, so that depends on how you draw around the doll. However, I think the bigger, larger dolls are really gorgeous. I mean, it's just a tip. If you want the dolly to be a little bit bigger, then you just draw around the pattern, give yourself more of a stitching line. Which brings me to the point. The line that you've drawn here is going to be your stitching line. Now here's a bit confusing because there's lots of lines. So all that you do is you draw an arrow to the line that is the one that you want to follow. In other words, that you're saying this one. So like this. If you make a mistake, that's all you do. You just point to it. So I think essentially, then you take it off and you'll notice some of it won't show up. So you just go over that. And it's got to be nice and visible and a nice thick line. Don't forget your leave open lines. Anywhere around the top of the head's fine. Okay, now there, that looks like we're good to go. That looks like we're ready to sew. Because this fabric's a little bit damp, the magic pen's fading already. Okay. Well, dollies, I just tried to film myself sewing this with the tripod on my lap, and actually it didn't work. So never mind, I'll ask my hubby to hold the camera for that bit next time. But all that we did is we used this gorgeous Brother sewing machine, which I'm going to endorse because I love it to bits. I really do. It's a Brother anniversary. It's quite an old one now. And I set it to 1.8 stitch size, which is really teeny weeny. We just used a straight stitch. And we started off by back stitching and then go all the way around. We just stitched all the way around, up, 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 as close as you can to your pen, and then finish there, and that's it. You just sew all the way and take your time, especially around the squiggly bits. Just go really, really slowly, or just use your hand and just stitch in and out, and that's that. Also, dollies, another thing that you want to do is sweep, I can't think of the word, turn your fabric around and just make sure that you're stitching your feet and your hands are within the fabric, because sometimes you might have run out of fabric on the underside. So just make sure that it's all good behind as well. Hello, dollies. And now the next part is you will cut out your doll and leave yourself about that much seam allowance between the stitching and the edge of the doll. And the next bit you need to do is snip, that's it, Doggy's very kindly holding the video camera. That's it. You just need to snip 3 ways. 1, 2, 3. There. 1, 2, 3. Such that when you turn your doll, it more or less stretches to a straight line. So you do that on, if we zoom out, on the neck, under the armpits, crotch, whoopsie, and so on. And then get some PVA glue and just dab it into these main joint edge corners. Dab the glue there so that it secures it. You can do the glue and then snip after that. That's a better way of doing it. And do it on both sides. And then you'll just get those joints really, really secure. Now we're going to turn the doll. So we come in through the head. And whilst I do this, dollies, I've got a very big experience to tell you all about. I'm remaking this part of the video because I made this amazing feature-length complete doll tutorial on my phone. Oh, by the way, to turn it, you need this turning tool that's a little bit like the tool that you use to clean out a fish. What's it called? Forceps, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm turning it with this dolly forceps tool. Whoops. And so I'd made, oh gosh, I'm finding that difficult. What you do is you pinch it and then you turn it. Because I like to make quite small dolls, it's fiddly, but now we've got it. There we go. We've got it. So then we do one leg there. So as I was saying, I've done all these videos, I put it all together. I was about to export it from my iMovie on the phone. Of course, the video was too long, so it was actually about 1 hour and 20 minutes long. So your feature-length dolly video. And it didn't export, so then I had to mess about deleting all the files, making it smaller, and then I lost some of my videos, so I'm having to redo them. However, if you go onto Maria's doll channel, you will see one of the videos that happens after this section, which is joint articulation. And I was stuffing the doll with pipe cleaners inside the doll. So you can choose to do that and put pipe cleaners inside the doll, but I don't so much recommend it because it's not so... The doll with the pipe cleaners doesn't do what I want it to do. Then you turn it inside out. If you see what I mean. So there we go. So that's what the turned doll looks like. And then, dun dun dun. And then we get a bag full of clouds, some stuffing, and we're going to start to stuff into the feet first. So lovely, lovely, gorgeous comments I get on YouTube and on Instagram. This lovely, lovely fellow doll maker suggested with the stuffing with the pipe cleaners to actually to not use craft pipe cleaners because they're not such good quality. So to use a better quality of pipe, a cotton one or something. And then to wrap the pipe cleaner with stuffing like this, like so, and then stuff it into the doll. So that's another way you can do it. So that's the pipe cleaner option. But now what I want to show you is something a lot easier. And I actually got this technique from the Tilda doll techniques. And with this doll, all that you do is, because my intention is so that the doll sits, oh, if you just film it a little bit in, brilliant, is so that the doll sits on the shelf. So in order to make the doll sit down, like if I don't articulate any joints, the doll will just stand. So there's a limit to the types of poses you can get from your doll. But if you want your dolly to sit, which makes them look really cute when you sit them on the shelf, then here's what you do. You just stuff, basically what you want to do is stuff to there, you see? And then you do a stitch line. And then you carry on stuffing. So that gives it a natural, this is so cool. Just gives it a natural joint. So I'm just going to show you what I mean. So we will now sew. I've stuffed the legs. You have to imagine, okay, if she's going to sit like this, there's the natural joint there. Looks a little bit like a knicker line, doesn't it? And then I'm going to push the stuffing so that it's on the leg side of the doll, and so that our stitch line is clear. And then if you come over here, dum, 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 we will now simply, see, this is great because he's holding the machine. I can actually video myself sewing. Yay. And so there we go. So we do a back stitch. We do a back stitch and then just stitch across, back stitch, and then I'm just going to carry on sewing. Don't worry too much about the stuffing. There's a little bit less stuffing on the second leg. Don't worry, because she's going to be sitting down and that's going to be covered up by dress anyway, so it doesn't matter. So there we are. So here we have, that's really cool, isn't it? So we've got the sitting down ability, and now all that we do is finish stuffing. Obviously take a little bit less, and then all that you do, stuff, stuff, stuff. It just gives it a really nice little shape as well. I just really like the shape. When you make a traditional doll, actually, I'm just gonna show you. Sometimes you have to put the legs on afterwards, so it creates that kind of joint anyway. I'll show you what I mean. Here is a lovely dolly. Say hi. Okay, we don't mind, we're just going to show you. So that's the doll's body there, and you can see, her knickers are falling. You can see there that the legs are different. So again, it creates that sitting down joint, so that then she can, like that, she can sit against the shelf and so on. So that's all you do for the stuffing. I'm not going to finish the whole thing, so I want to make this video uploadable. I want to make it, can you hold it there? That's great. I want to make it uploadable, but all you're going to do,
I can't see if it's there.
All that you're going to do is stuff it fully, and when you get to the head, you just stitch along there, and it doesn't have to be neat because that bit is going to be covered up with hair. Yay, hooray. Oh, that was a good bow. Da, da, da. And now we move on to the face, hair and clothing.